Oh, hello there. My name is host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. And I come to you tonight with a provocative question. Are feelings always about something? Earlier in the car, I had to get up from a nap a little sooner than I wanted to. Good morning, Lauren Cuthbert. Good morning to you. Or as they say on the continent, good morrow. I just worked with Jeffrey. Rachel and I were going to run a little errand. And I said, I feel kind of sad. I'm not sure what it's about. And then I thought about it some. I said, is it possible to feel sad not about anything? So, like, sometimes I wake up in the morning mad, but I'm always waking up in the morning mad at someone or something. Sometimes I might be scared, right? Well, I'm always scared of something. I'm not just scared in general. Hi, Boba Fett. How are you? So I wonder if the same thing is true of sad. Because my take on it is mostly when I feel sad, it has to do with the fact that I haven't gotten enough sleep. If an ESFP's truth is too uncouth for a super sleuth, is it fair to say they may lose a tooth? Forsooth. Not a great answer. Snappy answer, huh, Quentin McCork? I like your question as well, though. It's a good question. It's the sort of question that stands between us and an ideal, perfect reality that's yet to be realized, you know? And then, well, after I went around for a little while, I didn't feel sad anymore, really. I don't feel sad right now, but I do feel something like, yeah, but the thing about that is it's almost certainly links to being tired. Yeah, it almost certainly links to being tired. And I'm somebody who gets hangry. I get had, which is hungry and sad. I get fappy, which is full and happy. Masturbating, I guess. My FI definitely links a lot to my SI. But I was just thinking about making I'm quite enamored with this Redbubble merch shop that I have. I'll put the link here because I'm seeing the great potential for it, which is to say, like the next shirt design I upload is just going to be a shirt that says in small words on it, I can't stop twinkling, period. And it's going to be tagged with tagged for My Hero Academia, because the naval laser guy says that in the show. So the thing is, if you make shirts that are about things that people like, references to them and stuff, and you put a bunch of them up there with a bunch of tags, you can get some random traffic occasionally, sell a shirt. It has nothing to do with talking to famous people at all, right? The beautiful thing about this concept is I don't have to do anything. Once the work's done, in other words, once I've successfully uploaded the design and managed like which products it's on and where it's placed on them and stuff like that, then it's long tail payoff with no further effort on my part. So it's a great idea for a sort of long-term extra revenue stream is to come up with a bunch of t-shirt shit that references stuff that people like. Go and focus. Fuck. And then tag them accordingly, you know. But the thing is, I don't want to use a bunch of images from shows that people are going to maybe have a copyright issue with. I want to make sure I'm not running afoul of any copyright stuff. So I'll probably put text on them mostly. I have images currently there on shirts, including a couple of my my pictures of crows that I took the other day. I was thinking of changing one of those images. I've got two different crow images. I was thinking of changing one of them to say in the middle of it, Sunset Ravens, and then tag it as Darwin's Game, an anime that in which like the group of it is called Sunset Ravens, you know? It's like that's what I always envisioned YouTube would be. I'd make a video and it would be long tail. That it would occasionally earn me a penny, and that if I made enough videos, it would pile up. YouTube doesn't really work like that. Very few of your videos have any action after their initial burst. YouTube has to really think it's a video worth promoting for it to get into the recommendeds and stay alive in the overall scheme of things, you know. So, if anybody has any good ideas for like quotes or something from a show to put onto a shirt that's popular, something like that, let me know. It's not a particularly time-consuming process to upload a new design and adjust it on the various products and stuff, especially if you only pick a couple of products. So it seems to me that it's like that's the kind of work I want to do, right? I want to do work that I do it, and then it continues to work for me independently forevermore without me having to do anything else ever again, you know? Like, I tried to have my own store for a while. The problem with that is it's a lot of work. You have to ship a lot of shit, you know? And I don't like to ship stuff. I don't like to have to do all that. So in this case, I just upload designs. You know, if I can upload designs that people want to buy the shirt, then I'll get 20% of it. And I could have, you know, lots and lots and lots of designs, each of them sort of tagged to a different thing that's already popular. Like Cameron was recommending do like 1987 Toyota trucks. I did a logo one of Stop and Go, which was like a 7-Eleven that used to exist in the 70s. As far as I know, there's only one of them left. But somebody might want to. I took a picture of that Stop and Go sign when I visited that one that is left, and I thought, okay, well, maybe somebody who's feeling vintagey will be Googling Stop and Go, and no, that's not my concept here. That's exactly the opposite of what I'm saying. I don't want to manage a design. I want it to gradually just sort of like the same way that I ended up buying a shirt off Redbubble. That's how I found out about the place. I Googled Thank You 39 shirts, which is a specific anime shirt that the character wears in the show Blue Exorcist. That I thought was a funny shirt. It would be cool to wear. Well, that's my thought here is that you want to put up stuff on your store that links to stuff that people might want to buy a shirt about, you know, like anime shows or a certain year and design a motorcycle or whatever, you know. But the thing is also, it's a matter of how much time you have to put into the design. The shirt that I'm going to do for Hero Academia that just says, I can't stop twinkling, period, in small print kind of in the middle of the shirt, that'll be an easy one. It's just text. And, you know, it's the sort of thing, My Hero Academia is still making new episodes right now. it very well might get some action, So who knows? I'm going to try this idea for a little bit as I continue doing my other stuff. When I think of a good shirt thing that links like that, like I was just thinking about doing a poison hand shirt. I need to take a picture of my hand going into a bucket, basically turn it into a line drawing, or just kind of like, well, basically like a line drawing, and then write the text over it, poison hand. For all the Baki fans out there. That'd be funny, right? That's a cool shirt. The thing is, I already have quite a few designs up there, so that shows you how easy it is to actually make it happen. Too many words. Sure. Lenny Kravitz. Leonard Kravitz is not an awesome name. But, he accomplished quite a bit. The Tits building. Is it Tits? Well, that's about as useful as tits on a warthog. You ever heard that expression before? Tits aren't useful when they're on a warthog because I guess you still want to squeeze them, but it's a warthog. I'm not sure why tits aren't useful on a warthog. But they aren't. They definitely aren't useful on a warthog. I put one of Cameron's arts up there as well. But obviously, you're going to be much more successful selling t-shirts that reference random shit than you are ever going to be successful selling your own cool designs. It's just how it is. Like, I mean, this is a pretty cool. The Karate Girl design that Liz did is pretty damn cool. And it looks good. It looks pretty fresh on a shirt. But it just doesn't have anything to drive traffic to it besides karate, which is so general, How do you spot an ESFP on a date? Good question. Do you mean, how do you tell if your date is an ESFP, or when you're on a date and there's somebody in the restaurant, that's making a fuss, how do you spot them as being an ESFP? If you mean, how can you tell if your date's an ESFP? Well, I would say, I wonder why restaurants have reservations. Why isn't it all just first come, first serve? And if he goes, I don't know, I guess if people just want it that way or something, then, I was like, he just total lack of reasoning. If your date takes you to McDonald's, score. That's what you wanted anyway. Hi, no special person. You are a special person. Okay, let me just tell you that. You're special. You're a special person to me. Don't let anybody tell you that you have inadequate specialness. Well, because I guess it's more of a TE question than a TI question, really. Ask them the reasoning to explain why it's always the person who rear ends that's liable and never the person who stops short in front of them. I went on a date with somebody who was kind of just rephrasing what I was saying and repeating it back to me. And I was like, I don't like this. What is happening? I mean, that's not enough for me to go on. It sounds like a lack of imagination combined with some sort of underdeveloped FE heuristics, which could correlate with ESFP, but are there any McDonald's with buffets? Good question. Very good question. I doubt it. Ask them how to milk a cow. If they first say, assuming the cow is a sphere. Right. That's kind of bullshit that therapists use to basically make you do your own work. I feel kind of sad right now. So what I'm hearing is that you feel kind of sad right now. Well, apparently your ears are working. And how does that make you feel? Heard? So you're feeling heard. Yes. We had Panda Express for dinner tonight. Well, I guess the idea is in therapy that a lot of times people need to talk things out, and the therapist's job is to sort of keep them on track. Yeah, I was kind of feeling meow earlier. Still maybe feeling a little bit meow. But the thing is, it's an interesting question. Which emotions do you have to feel about things, and which emotions can you just feel in general? So I can feel just sort of happy or excited about life or whatever in general. I get that. But it seems like I'm always mad. If I'm mad at something, probably, mostly. I can't think of examples of being mad without being mad at something. If I'm scared, right? You're going to be scared of something. You're not going to be scared of nothing. So it seems like some emotions you have to require a preposition and some don't, is one way to put it. Do people just freak out on dates or something? Well, it really depends on how self-conscious they feel. And also how competent they believe themselves to be. So it sounds like your date felt both not confident and self-conscious, and so didn't really know what to do and defaulted to a very simplistic FE heuristic. I'm not sure why. It's hard to say. I'd have to know a lot more information about it. I mean, I don't think Cameron would be awkward on a date. When Cameron talks about awkwardness, he mostly talks about feeling awkward. I don't really think of him as being especially awkward. Went on for 3 hours. What were you doing? Eating dinner for 3 hours or what? Were you taking a 3-hour boat tour? Just be glad you didn't end up on Gilligan's Island with him. No special person says, how did I start getting so cool? Like, you're a good dude, and I think maybe more folks with hearts as light as yours. Well, I mean, the reality is, I've been lucky my whole life. I've had a safety net. I've had parents who loved me. I've had mostly friends who weren't into being shitty. We're mostly good to each other. I've mostly met people who weren't that damaged. It took me until I got with Kimberly to be with somebody. Well, actually, my first wife was very damaged. I'm sorry, I retract that. But that was the exception for a long time. And then Kimberly was damaged. But primarily, I just haven't been exposed to a lot of the darker side of life. I haven't encountered very much of it. And I have this kind of weird Teflon-y thing. Karma in general seems to, or the slabs, as I like to say, they give me. It's like if I didn't know better, then I'll get weirdly light consequences for a bad mistake. The interesting thing, no special person, is that I've become somewhat more aware of the oddity of my situation because of YouTube. Like most everybody, I kind of project my frame of reference onto everybody else. And YouTube's helped me to understand that most people have some trauma have more trauma in like childhood and stuff and or relationships than I do. Or as I would say a majority of people emerge from childhood having experienced some fucked up shit. Now, I'm not saying I didn't. I did go to school at a time when the adults just sort of washed their hands of managing the children's cruelty to one another, Teflon, like the stuff that makes food fall off of pans without a lot of washing. Because there is this reality where some individuals, and there's a lot of like social justice stuff, complains because these correlate with certain demographics. And those correlations are, I'm an example of those kind of correlations. So, so well, I don't. Are you saying you think Zizek is an ENFP? Make your case. If you want to say he's the ENFP, make your case. Stolen 3 men. Okay, now you're just trolling. So, other than Zizek, who are either real life known evil or ENTPs, well, Becky is the one that comes to mind. Becky, I think, had probably some sort of attachment disorder or other childhood development problem or something like that that caused her to be wicked, not basically wickedness always boils down to the same thing. It always manifests as accountability avoidance disorder, a refusal to be honest about your own behavior, what you've done, and to try to keep your record clean, so to speak. If you're not honest about your mistakes, you won't keep your record clean. You won't learn from anything. If you refuse to acknowledge that you did wrong when you did action A, then and action A actually was wrong, then you're very likely to continue on that course of wickedness until at least you acknowledge to yourself that it's wicked. So, Cloud's just doing his thing. Nope, 2 SI for an ENTP. That's textbook Cloud move, right? This sort of weirdly inappropriate, unsubstantiated claim that's it sounds like something that would be designed to engage in actual conversation, but it's not. It's just kicking the anthill, Yeah, there's Stolen 3 Moon. Stolen 3 Moon is probably Cloud. High likelihood. This is one of his go-to techniques, which is take a person who I've typed as Mia and come in and explicitly say he's somebody else. Now, the thing about Zizek is one reason I think it's very likely to be Cloud is it's not like I talk a lot about Zizek. You got to have been around a fair amount of live streams to know my position on Zizek. Well, I'm just because he's pretending to be somebody else. I just thought I like to make sure we're all aware that he's not fooling me. Sometimes people go, that's Cloud. Yes, I know. Yeah, but of course, if I call it out right away, they go, why would you bother talking about it? I can't. I'm doomed if I do, doomed if I don't. What did me and Rachel upload to do today? No, not much. It was a pretty dead day. I worked in the morning with Jeffrey. Rachel got up late, like around noon. I went to, I took a nap shortly after that. Then we got up and my dad said, did Rachel tell you about dinner? Rachel told me when I got from my nap that my dad was going to get Panda Express. I said, yeah. And he says, so am I going? And I said, well, do you want me to go with you? And he said, not really. And I'm like, okay, well, I do have sunflower seeds to get that I could get at the store. I've been planning to get. And he said, oh, well, then you go then. It's like, when he came out here first, I thought he wants me to go with him, you know? But no, he doesn't want to go with me. He wants, I don't think he had any idea what he wanted when he came out here to say that. You might think, well, he must have said, well, now it's your turn to go pick it up this time, Eric, which is fine. But that's not the way it sounded, the way he phrased it. The way he phrased it made it clear to me. It was like, so am I going by myself? I'm like, well, do you want me to go with you? And he says, no, not really. I'm like, what is going on here? He just wanted to talk about the logistics of getting dinner, but didn't really have anything to say about it. And so I ended up going to get dinner instead of him. And while we were out, we picked up Rachel's medication and got sunflower seeds as indicated. And then we had dinner with my dad. We watched a little bit of the baseball game. And then we went to Sphinx Mart. And, oh, right, I got this Kratom stuff. I wanted to try it. I tried it once before a long time ago. But I thought maybe it can help me to sleep better without having to take Rachel's Klonopins. Because one thing I have noted is that in the after effect of taking Klonopin, I tend to feel a little depressed the next day or sad or something. It like helps so I get a good night's sleep. I don't toss and turn. It's all like a big chunk of sleep rather than, up for a couple hours, sleep for a couple hours, up for, but it's not. I don't know what to do about that Klonopin stuff. It's like, I love the fact that it makes me sleep. I don't like how it makes me the next day, really, though. It's got such a long half-life. The logistics of dinner, ESG, basically. Oh, right. Yes, the wedding. Reminds me. We've been waiting for her to get a response as to exactly which 2 nights we're going to be there so we can know where the flights to get. We finally got the response tonight. I said to her, okay, after this episode of whatever, we'll book the flights, and then I forgot to do it. So I will probably book them tonight, but I might book them tomorrow. I'm definitely going to book them either today or tomorrow. Now that we know, our goal is to arrive on Friday at noon in Indianapolis and to leave Indianapolis at noon on Sunday. That way, if we arrive at noon on Indianapolis on Friday, when we get to the hotel, the most we have to do is wait an hour for check-in time, which is 3:00. And during that time, we could leave our luggage in the lobby maybe and go walk around a little bit or something. No big deal. No, this is not her brother's wedding. There are 2 weddings going on. Okay, her brother's wedding he's having his engagement party in New York, but the wedding itself is not till 2022. Whereas her cousin is the one who's having the wedding in Indiana. Hold that thought. So, all bark, no bite. Sky Gear. You can trust my bong. It's a friendly bong. Wow, that's mad. So anyway, that's the goal, is to get flights from Burbank, ideally, but probably LA, so be cheaper, to Indianapolis, such that we arrive noon Friday, leave noon Sunday. Sorry, off topic question, but what are all the questions, exercises to test someone's SE? I really don't test SE directly. I was never mad at Lijo. God. People and their fixation on emotions. I'm not mad at Lijo. No, I haven't read the comments in the chat on that. I wasn't mad. I was just indignant. That's different. I'm not mad at Lijo. I am so not a grudge holder. Like, one of the great things about having an ESTP daughter is that she and I both got this. We had this little blow up fight. We'd yell at each other, and then we'd say, "Well, what am I? Okay, yeah, that's true. My bad. I'm sorry." And she'd say, "Okay, well, my bad about this. And I'm sorry." And say, "Okay, cool. We good. We good. Yeah, bye." And then there's no more bad feelings. It was so easy dealing with Delilah my whole life because we both had the same approach towards dispute. Dispute sometimes escalates into two people kind of yelling at each other or something, but that as soon as the matter in dispute is resolved, there shouldn't be any lingering feelings of negativity, and both people should end the conversation by apologizing for their own excesses. Just as a basic matter of FE decency. Yeah, it's DI stuff. It's that bipolar stuff. So I'm very happy. Yeah, boy, that's the truth. Stolen 3 Moon. I have gotten so many emails from people who are like, "Hey, so the other day, I guess I kind of crossed the line, and they've been thinking that I'm mad at them, and I have no idea what they're even referencing." Do you think daughters' personalities are influenced by their dads? Well, I think that my daughter's affect and sort of particulars have been influenced by me a lot. But her actual cognitive function stack, she's just an ESTP like every other single one of them, just like I'm an ENTP like every other single one of them. Yes, Lijo made her video before my interview with her. Lijo's video wasn't regarding me. Still TE though, right? It's like, regardless of whether it's about me, everything I say there is completely accurate. It's like, God, so much TE. But the other thing I would point out is I had a bit of a realization that I too was being guilty of affect typing when it came to INTJs. In other words, I reject affect typing, but I think to myself, yeah, but not with INTJs. You can tell when they're INTJs because of the way they talk. Okay, so Lijo, I actually do think she is an INTJ. And I think that she's just a good example of why you can't do affect testing. I mean, obviously, at first I thought this woman is definitely an ENTJ. I don't know what the hell she's thinking that she's an INTJ. But as I've progressed and reflected upon it more and more and more and more, I think she actually might be an INTJ. And that I'm just, I mean, I never actually typed her, remember? But I'm gonna do a what's it called? Type police on that video that we made to discuss these issues and basically me getting meow. Why do you think ESFP at first? Okay, so regarding there are 2 type police episodes that I regret and that I'll probably forever have to answer questions about. They represented a momentary revision in my understanding of type police. So there was a stretch of time briefly when I figured, well, since I'm not actually typing people with type police and it's just entertainment, it doesn't really matter if I'm right or not. I just toss them in the jail, you know? Like Frank James, I just wanted to toss him in jail because I figured that would be more provocative or something. But that brief period of time when I was trying to ride that technicality and say, well, Sergeant Host Eric's not Host Eric and he's wrong a lot or whatever. Lijo fell into that category of type police video. As to why it is that I said ESFP or what my reasoning was, I have no recollection of it at all. Now, the thing is absolutely the case, half of what Lee Sherman says there. Of course, it's all an act in the sense that she is got the glasses, she's got the suit that makes her look like a psychiatrist, she's got the man makes her look like a psychiatrist, the couch behind her, she's got a plant there. The point is, the problem with what you said though, Lee Sherman, is it's wrong to say it's all an act. It's correct to say she understands what's actually important. Right? So in other words, doing something well for results is not mean it's all an act. That's what YouTube's all about. That's why I have 1/4 of the subscribers she has. That's not indicative of her not being an INTJ. It's indicative of her being an INTJ. That she's doing it so successfully. You know, it's obviously, for me, it makes me shake my head because as a TI person, I understand what's, nobody can, you cannot fool me with symbols of competency if you're saying words to me. In other words, if your words are bullshit, no matter how many symbols of competency you have around me, it's not going to fool me. But I'm not saying Elijah's words are bullshit. I'm just saying that that's why I don't prioritize symbols of competency, because I don't want to fool people. It's like I don't want people thinking I'm correct for the wrong reasons. I do want you to agree with me and think I'm correct, but for the right reasons. Oh, are you getting ads? Why don't you get YouTube Premium? It's not like it gets me any money either. It's not like you're buying anything. Did I put non-skippable ads? Next time I'll uncheck non-skippable ads if I checked it. It took me a long time to just sort of bite the bullet and just add up everything because I didn't like the idea of it really, but that's the platform, you know. That's not my stuff that's being sold. It's someone else's stuff. 5 damn seconds, and those are the best 5 seconds of the whole stream. Is the other thing. Yeah, there's an ad for you. Redbubble commercial time. There's my merch. If you want to get some merch. It's short for merchandise. It's overpriced because of the way I've chosen to do it, but it's easier for me. So there you have it. As boba milk tea is the bomb, as long as you don't put any bobas in it, ooey. As soon as you put bobas in your boba milk tea, it becomes ooey. Like your name. I can't believe your parents named you ooey. About what, Mac Daddy? You don't get to be wrong or correct in general like that. You have to be wrong or correct about something. A Dawn misses me. I can't do that second one anymore now that I'm in a relationship with this one. Taylor, do you remember when Taylor here? Taylor was here a second ago, wasn't he? I thought I saw a flow state. Yeah. Anyway, Taylor, do you remember when Courtney talking to facial shirt and I'm like, show off your shirt, Courtney. And she was just bouncing all around until she remembered that she was faking to be an INTP. And then she's like, she was so excited to get to be a bimbo until she remembered she was faking being an INTP. And then she suddenly stopped acting so much like a bimbo. Oh, you're an ENFP? Cool. I never have a negative word to say about your type. Yeah. It's like she was trying so hard, and then someone said, "Would you like to act like a bimbo for us?" And she's like, "Ooh, yay!" Bounce around in that shirt for me a bit more, Courtney. Okay. So what's up with CSJs and why is the session so damn expensive? Oh, it's only $500. It's $500 to get typed by C.S. Joseph. Oh yeah. Well, what a waste of money. Apparently, he doesn't really ask any questions or anything. He types you like right away, and then spends the rest of the time explaining what it means. That might have something to do with it, Winston's mom, but I doubt people are trying to negotiate him down. It's probably less than that to be typed by the MBTI Institute, but they don't have to do anything other than administer a test. C.S. Joseph presumably is actually engaging with the person directly, but you know, not oddly, you know, predictably. Predictably, the universe once again. The slabs like to meow my meows, you know. I think you know what I'm trying to say. Where is my coffee? Did I not take it out of the fridge? I mean, the microwave? Latte. Aha. Okay, so I have 2 cold cups of coffee in the microwave because, of course, I put a cup of coffee in the microwave, heated it up, forgot about it, poured myself another cup of coffee, put it in the microwave, heated it up, forgot about it. Now I got to heat up this coffee again because it's cold again. That's hey. Yeah, really. The universe likes to prove TWFP incorrect. It hurts so bad. I mean, you too, know such a person. It is actually true that the forces of mush in the world are desperate to tear down TWFP. It's also true that the forces of reason in the world, by nature, negate. So they also are trying to tear down what I'm saying. So, you know, pretty much everyone's always trying to tear down what I'm saying. But that's fine. Well, that's fine. It's true. I just keep on keeping on with generally limited results, but you know. I think I'm getting more pleasant though. So it's possible that even if I'm just doing the same thing or trying to do it a little bit better or whatever, that my overall more pleasantness than I used to be will maybe get me 10 subs or something. I don't know. It seems like I'm probably rather less off-putting than I was in years 1 through 3. I do believe there are some TWFP mugs. You know, the store is still a little rough, so that particular site, Redbubble, has kind of a steep learning curve as far as figuring out the interface on the website. I tried to get back to this one screen I was on like so many times and I forget it. I think it's a noble goal, the trimmer. So I'm not sure the image is sized properly for the mugs or if they're enabled. I don't remember exactly. But there can be mugs, and I just need to make sure the image is sized properly on the mugs. I can't use the green screen in this kind of live streaming. Let me go check. So with YouTube, you can either live stream with your what's called webcam streaming, which is what I'm doing. It's the easiest way to start streaming. Or you can software stream. The software stream is a little bit more involved, but yeah, okay, I'll add mugs right now. but it's like I end up just doing this instead. If I were software streaming, I could use the green screen. So let's see here. This one, yeah, I'm gonna click this, edit it. You have to push edit from that thing to get to the screen that I was looking for that whole time. I finally figured out and remembered how to do it after failing several times. Okay, let's see here. Mugs. Edit. Apply changes. And I guess that was fine the way it was. It goes all the way around, huh? Okay. I see. That's fine. Move a little bit that way. There you go. Center vertically. Apply changes. And I will enable. And then I will also enable travel mugs. There we go. Apply changes. Actually, I think with travel mugs, I'll do a pattern just to mix it up a little bit. I'll make it smaller and I'll do a offset pattern like that. That's cool. Okay. Apply changes and enable. And go to the bottom and click this thing again and save work, or else it won't save it. These are all the things I had to struggle with on learning how to use this site. But now I know how to do it, so it's pretty straightforward. Okay, there are now both mugs and travel mugs available with Talking with Famous People on them in the store, and I will put the link to that part of it directly, like Mia, and put the Mia, copy, all right, this, share, copy link, okay, and then put this here. Yui says, I'm pretty sure I'm an ESFP. I mean, if I was thinking ISFP. Let's see what happened with C.S. Joseph and his wife. Oh, that's a good idea, Winston's mom. So let's see here. How does typing a fetus work? A sperm and fetus and a newborn. He was very vocal about it. In fact, he's so passionate about it, he will vocalize it in every ESP video. He'll try to tell you why he was so great as a dad the whole time. I'm missing something from before. Let's see here. Winston's mom says, I've missed a bunch of stuff here. If you get typed by DSP, you have to pay 6 payments of $60 or 6 months, so $360 you have to wait ages. I knew something was up with him. He talked so badly about his ex-wife being an ENTP and how he had to socially engineer himself as an ISFJ parent to cater to her needs to make the divorce process less stressful. Well, Yui, I'm sorry to report to you. I've been known to occasionally talk shit about ESFPs too. It's hard not to sometimes do that. I try not to, but sometimes somebody will piss me off and with a particular kind of wrongness, be a certain type, and I'll say, "Here's what I hate about Mias." The thing is, everybody is an individual, and I have typed a couple of very cool ESFPs recently who are great people, and I need to not be guilty of that kind of groupism because the function stack is like the architectural skeleton, but particularistic experiences are determined in what grows around that skeleton. And you have to judge the actual thing that's growing around the skeleton, not the skeleton itself. All right, let's see, where are we? Everywhere you go, at least Facebook groups, everyone appeals to C.S. Joseph, so it's fair to say he's the go-to guy for most people at large. Well, I mean, are you the cool ESFP I recently typed, Yui? Right. Well, Yui says, I can't believe you can type your own spoiler getting to know someone. The thing is, he typed to me one time on a live stream in about 10 seconds based on absolutely nothing. The fact that I used the word cheese or something. I had recently heard about him going through a divorce. Is this after he had the baby? Didn't he also recently have a newborn baby and all of a sudden he's getting divorced? Or what? He was very vocal about it. And he was a great dad the whole time. He did everything to make his ex-wife happy. Well, the thing is, I kind of had. Well, no, I didn't. That's a lie. I tried everything I could to make Candace happy. I tried some things that Candace wanted me to do to make her happy, but we had a lot of fundamental disagreements about what's appropriate to require of me, Oh, is C.S. Joseph in Sacramento? We could totally have our boxing match. Like, I really want to have our boxing match. I mean, it's definitely demoralizing from, no, she was SOSX. No, SOSP. Yeah, she was SOSP. And it's just a fundamentally different kind of ideas about a relationship. She saw us as So he's 9 hours north of Sacramento is like Bend, Oregon or something. Yeah, I need somebody else to basically make C.S. Joseph respond. Like, it's gonna have to be a fair amount of people in his saying to him in a stream or something, hey, what about this boxing match? Or else there's just zero chance. This mug looks like it's from the Flintstones kitchen. This is like a fancy mug that my clients brought me back from like Northern California or something. Coffee's so good. It is truly to get into this like out. Well, I mean, I'm giving them an opportunity to try to beat me to death, literally. So, why wouldn't he jump at that chance? I don't doubt that, he'd be the favorite, I guess you could say. He probably has some substantial advantages on me in terms of general fitness. He's younger than me. He probably doesn't like me, would like to punch me in the face. He'd make money off of it. I can't imagine he's actually like scared of me or something. So I don't understand why he wouldn't agree with this. That's true. That's the downside of me winning the boxing match. That just gives credence to his claim that I'm an ESTP. Anyone who questions his coaching, and that's the thing, he thinks he's coaching. Look, there's assessing, there's teaching, and there's coaching. What we are doing is assessing. The fact that he thinks he's coaching is just proof of his fucking overwhelmingly TE frame. To the extent that we're not assessing, we should be teaching, not coaching. Personality types are not a life hack. They're a robust explanation of differentiation among humans. Robust, like my junk. Why are you using a plural to talk about my junk? I think he's an ESTJ. That's what I think. The level of humor that he manages to execute is definitely not any better than third slot. Watching C.S. Joseph attempt to make jokes well, it's like watching a blind man attempt to direct a symphony. Conduct. Oh. Okay. As long as you're insulting the idea I've devoted so many years to, not my penis. 69-minute stream. I must be an NE dome. Yeah. He thinks filming the car walking around last minute is such an ENTP move. Yeah. This is an ENTP move. You know, filming, I mean, in the same place you're always set up, but being so disinterested in the things that you consider irrelevant that you don't even bother turning the camera a little more this way or sitting a little bit more this way, which would look a little bit better, I guess. And the mic's over there. You know, it's close enough. That's why I turn it up a little louder. My boyfriend's an ISTP. Love him to death, but he can be a control freak. Well, let me be clear about this. He's not being a control freak. You're doing it wrong. Okay? If you weren't doing it wrong, you wouldn't be having this problem. Rachel tells me a hilarious story of her boyfriend wanting to play a video game with her, right? So they could finish the game together. Growing increasingly frustrated at Rachel's refusal to understand that there's a way to do this, okay? No! Left, right, left, right! It's just like, oh my God. I can picture the scene and Rachel being not, Rachel's not great at drawing lines. She probably attempts to appease a certain amount first. And I just imagine her going, okay, well, it's like, oh, Jesus, what a nightmare. Well, the thing is, we do pay attention when we're doing things, Frank James charges $100 to type somebody? Well, I mean, I agree with you that we treat cognitive functions as though they were tools that a central self uses rather than expressions of, the self is the expressions of attention, not something that uses the expressions of attention. But it's difficult to avoid some of that shorthand. Like, if we were to really speak properly in ways that were TI robust enough for you, Sky Gear, then we'd use English Prime and we'd eliminate all be verbs, linking verbs, and stuff, so that it's always clear who the subject is, what the action being taken is, what the object is, and who the observer is. I mean, Skygear, it's like Richard Feynman said, though, too. If I could explain it to you, I wouldn't have been worthy of the Nobel Prize. He said that to some reporter, I guess. To a certain extent, you can only be so precise without losing the vast majority of people, right? Well, sort of, Winston's mom. That's not exactly wrong, but I would say that the self comprises, action on a continuum, somewhere along the line between intuitive action and sensory action. And that depending on, and those things slot, right? So that to say that your ego or your persona is your front four and your back four is something else is kind of missing it in the way the Sky Gear is highlighting, which is to say, it's more like myself. I mean, it comes with everything that each thing implies, right? So, in other words, being an any Dom implies necessarily a certain relationship with action that is on the continuum of more discussion, less discussion, right? Before taking action, before manifesting something in a discussion ending way. So it's like to be somebody who so prioritizes discussion and correctness and stuff rather than impact and solvency, it necessitates a specific kind of relationship with what we call the other functions. So really, NE and SE, you could say, is one relationship between words and impacts. It's almost as though they're one function, right? It's like action's action, and I'm seeing if I can think of a good analogy. Well, it's kind of like tolerating very loud noises or hearing very quiet sounds. When you say I can tolerate very loud noises without hurting my ears, it means you can't hear very quiet sounds because your ears have been deafened somewhat. If you say I can hear very quiet sounds, it means you can't tolerate very loud noises. Okay? So we try to think of tolerating loud noises and hearing very quiet sounds as separate functions, but they're not, right? It's like in some sense, it's just a matter of how much talk before we pull the trigger. Well, the thing is, here's the deal, Mac Daddy. My story about the guy who slapped my face and knocked the glasses off my face shows you just how difficult it is for a position to force you out of your habits. No matter how much sense it would have made for me to shift into SE mode at that point, I continued to say words to the guy. The SE thing I should have done is driven away really fast. Although given where I was stopped, there may have been some cars in front of me or something. I'm not sure, but the point being that you would think that circumstance put me in a position that forced me to go SE instead of NE. It did not. I still tried to do NE. In other words, there are plenty of circumstances in which I will go SE, but it needs to be set up in advance. So I've got no problem boxing C.S. Joseph because it would be a situation where I know going in, okay, I'm going to be using extroverted sensing here. This is an extroverted sensing environment. It's like I used to like to play basketball a lot. Obviously, I didn't try to talk and say in the game. Instead of actually doing it, I didn't go, okay, I'm dribbling now, and now I just scored a basket and expect people to buy that, right? I use extroverted sensing. So it's like I can choose to do things that require me to attend via extroverted sensing. Or you might say, I can choose to do things that require me to shut my mouth. But it's unlikely that the position I'm in is going to force me. I think I'm naturally good at improvising in a given moment. And so I don't really second guess my native approach towards things in the moment. I assume, I'll start talking, he'll answer in some way, and then before you know it, I'll be in control of the situation. But he didn't answer. He stopped and kept walking. He didn't answer at all. He didn't choose to engage me with language, thus rendering my strategy not appropriate to the circumstance. I think Annie is prone to dialing in on details. I mean, extroverted intuition is a generative function in the sense that you're making word objects. You're not so much dialing in on something, whatever that means. Jimmy Page is the guitarist for Led Zeppelin. You still think the bar needs to be raised a bit? What do you mean? Like, I need to ask harder questions? I mean, the thing is, with the what about Isaiah Rude? I don't understand the connection. I mean, look, it's a point of a lot of contention. People who the complaint I normally get is that some of the TI questions are too simple, that that's too obvious or something. But in fact, a lot of people don't get them, so they're not that obvious. I mean, I have asked a TI polar person before, literally, who is your mother's sister in relation to you? And she said, family. So it's not just a matter of getting it right or wrong. Polar means you have a failure to conceive of the frame of reference very clearly. So you'll hear ISFPs sometimes say, oh, okay, well, with that black and white kind of thinking, I guess it would be, in other words, they kind of have to shift gears and go, oh, we're doing that thing. Yes, aunt is correct. Aunt is correct. Your mom's sister is your aunt. But the thing is, family is correct, sure, but it shows that she's not understanding what I'm going for with the question. In other words, I'm asking her, I'm saying a question that's supposed to lead her naturally towards a TI process. And instead, she's trying to figure out what I'm going for, you know? I mean, what do you mean? She's a member of your family. In other words, it's not, if I say in casual conversation to you, who's your mother's sister? You're likely to say, Judy? Or you might say, well, why do you want to know? What are you looking to figure out? Like, are you trying to figure out if you saw two people and you're trying to figure out which one is my aunt? Or, you know, in a natural conversation, there's no reason to conclude that if I say, who's your mother's sister, that I'm actually looking for the answer, my aunt, because you would conclude that I probably know that a mother's sister in relation to me is an aunt, and so I must be asking for some other reason. TI people default to words are parsed the way that I'm asking you to parse the genealogy problems, so they go right into getting what I'm going for. Do you think the only reason the ESFP drummer got it is because she studied genealogy? Yes. In other words, I think that her answering the genealogy questions referenced her visualizing a family tree and then looking at the picture and going like that, which she had memorized from spending a lot of time looking at family trees. That's what I suspect. The thing is, the reason we have multiple kinds of TI questions is there are particularist elements that can sometimes skew the results in one kind of TI question. If one were to do a thorough TI testing of somebody, one could get very conclusive about certain things regarding its slot. Probably not exactly what slot it is, unless it's polar or dominance. You might get confused with two, you know, but you can get pretty clear results because while particularist things might skew the results in one area, if you do enough questions in a lot of different areas or a lot of different strategies of testing TI, you can get a good holistic picture of it. The problem, again, as I mentioned many times before, is that by and large, people who aren't super confident in their TI don't like being asked a lot of TI questions because it makes them feel like they're looking dumb, you know. So my FE is third slot. I don't like to push people when they don't like to be pushed. So in that regards, sometimes I have to push through and ask a couple more questions than I'd like to, because I can tell the person's uncomfortable, but I really need to nail something down, I agree with Horace Mumbler on that thing right there. I agree with that. TI Doms, like Zachary, hosted Zachary from back in the day. He's from Kentucky. His parents and his brother, as far as I could tell, were all SFPs. And he was an INTP. And it's like everybody around him, everything blah, 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 is all censor stuff. And here he is interneting about philosophy all day long in his room. And, it's like the TI just burst out of every seam. I brought him out to be a coach. He generated a case strategy that was absolutely brilliant for one of my policy teams. And I mean, in that case, the apple fell light years away from the tree. Can we get an example of a pure TI reasoning problem? Sure. I mean, I guess it's purest if you use symbols like if it is not the case that P or Q, and if it is the case that not Q, then S, and if S and R, then T, therefore T, valid or invalid. I'll repeat that so if anybody wants to try it, okay? It is not the case that P or Q, and if not Q, then R, and if R and S, then T, therefore T, valid or invalid. Right. We have R, but we don't have S. You need both R and S to get T, so invalid. You're lacking an S. It's like, whoa, bro. Where did that S come from? You don't have that S. You just have it in the antecedent to the conditional. Well, IDK got it right and explained why as well. So really genuinely understood it and got it right. So now the thing is, I'm not convinced that all TI DOMs will necessarily immediately get that. And probably they will. Probably TI DOMs, ISTPs, or INTPs will get it, even if they've never had any logic class. So, okay, let me give you a different one. If and only if P, then Q. And if Q, then if R, then S. And if P, then R. And P, therefore, S. I lost track of what I was doing. I don't know. I don't want to make it more logic questions on the fly. And outside my head, it's like I always feel like I'm not being creative enough because there are only so many different things you can do with it. It's kind of, I go, okay, well, if P then Q, and if Q then R, and either P or R, and not S, therefore Q, valid or invalid? Well, like I said, I got confused on that one. Horse phone board. I confess to that. But this last one I didn't get confused on. If P then Q, and if R then S, and and I forget it. my mind is a little mushy right now from the kratom and from the weed and the lack of sleep and the just general humdrummedriness of the spirit of the day. Screw it all to heck. I was trying to use constructive dilemma, but I forgot what exactly I did. If P then Q, and if R then S, and P or Q, and not S and P, therefore Q. I don't remember what I did. I don't remember what I did. So that was valid, but just pointless because they're too straightforward questions. The important thing to remember is this. It's pretty straightforward. You just got to remember that P and Q are different things. You can't squeeze a Q into a P suit any more than you can squeeze a P into a Q suit. The best you can do is to negate them both. You know? So true. Okay, that's fine. When Q's are cumbers, they encumber those who use a number of Q's. To recuse their shoes from cruise ship duty. I thought possibly the a good question for expert intuition would be, how many words can you think of that start with SCR? Now, when I typically ask a question like that, I ask the variant where I say, how many synonyms can you think of meow? Sometimes when I could ask, or sometimes I have asked in the past, how many rhymes can you think of? But how many words can you think of that how many words can you think of start with SCR? Do we have any ISFPs or ISTPs here? If so, I'd like for them to try to answer the question first. I wonder if ISFPs and ISTPs would be able to think of scape does not start with SCR. I'm sorry, Winston's mom, but that file was not found on this server. Scrape, scream, screamer, scramble, scrunch, scratch, scream, scrap, scratchy, scranton, scrubber, scribble. Don't forget scrum and scrotum. If and only if P then Q, if P then S, if and only if S then G, S not P. Okay, let me see. So, okay. All right, so with S you get G, with G you get P. No, with Q you get P. You have S, which means you have G, but you don't necessarily have P. So certainly you don't have not P. It's invalid. Scrimmage. I think my favorite of these all has been Scranton. Yeah, that's my favorite one. Scranton. Scroll. Did anybody put scroll yet? Scroll or scree. SCREE. Did anybody put those two yet? Scram. Good. We have scratch, I think, but scrimshaw, great. I don't know if those other two words are. I don't think those are words. Scrunch, okay. Are skronk and scrumonk really words? I don't think so. Scrab apple. No, new roof. That's not a word. No, it's not valid, Skagir, because you don't get P. Look, you see, you got your S there. S gets you G, and if and only if P, then Q. If P, then S. If and only if. I'm assuming there's. Okay, well, I was assuming there's a comma after that S there. If you really meant there not to be a comma, then okay. If and only if P, then Q. If P, then S. If and only if S, then G. S, therefore S, then G. No, you must have meant to put the comma there. That's what I said, Skygear. I said it was invalid. You're such a Rumpelstiltskin. Stop being such a Rumpelstiltskin. Scrooge. Yeah. I've got a lovely box of coconuts. We already said scroll, concept. I said it, okay? Stop trying to steal my word. I got the points for that one. Has anybody here watched Darwin's Game anime show? Pretty damn good. I've watched a couple of pretty damn good animes using the random button on Crunchyroll lately. Last couple of days. I watched the one I just said, Darwin's Game. But then before that, I watched this thing called like Blue Archipelago, I think it's called, in which there are these things called the Fog, which are like sentient battleships that control Earth's seas and air until one of them defects to the humans. Good night, Oliver. Do people sometimes say to you, Oliver, then what? Not P, if and only if P, then G, and if S, then G, S and G. Well, if you don't need to give me G because you give me S, if S, then G ahead of time. So, okay, S and G, not P, if and only if P, then G. Oh, I see. S and G is the conclusion. Not P, if and only if P, then G. And if S, then G. No, it's got to be invalid. I don't see any. Caption poll. What do you think of my arm? I don't really think a lot of your arm. Oh, I see. I've got my sleeve up. I guess I'm feeling tired. Or something. I think maybe I'm gonna play a song on the guitar. I think maybe I'ma play a song on the guitar. I think maybe I'ma play a song so far away from me I can't reach it in time. I think I'm gonna play a song on the guitar. I'll play it with my fingers. I'll make a bar chord there and walk it down until I get myself back up where I was starting from. That's how you play the guitar. You pick these strings and then you meow, 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 meow. And that's how you play the guitar. That's how you play the guitar. Meow, 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 meow. going to the loaf. Up mountain, going to the loaf. Far from the city below. Going to the loaf. Up mountain, going to the loaf. Far from the city below. Mountain sunshine on the trees. Far above the smoky city. Mountain sunshine on those trees. Mountain sunshine on the trees. Far above the smoky city. Mountain sunshine. I went that little road up mountainside and all. I took my little dog to meet his little dog and didn't have no woman though to meet his Nancy. So I backed up my car and go to the loaf, going to the loaf. Up mountain, going to the loaf. Far from the city below. Going to the loaf. Up mountain, going to the loaf. On the little mountain road. Mountain sunshine on the trees. Far above the smoky city. Mountain sunshine, shine on those trees. Mountain sunshine, shine on me. Far above the smoky city. 'Cause I'm going to the loaf. I haven't played that in a while. Oh no, he's playing guitar. Must be ISFP. Well said. Everybody who plays guitar is an ISFP. Extremely arty and weird. Just like me. At least that's what the type descriptions say. And who could ever doubt those type descriptions? They're definitive on the matter. After all, they're written down and saying those kind of types are like me. And someone who doesn't understand cognitive functions decided to share their wisdom and thoughts only to dilute the pool of truth with their rancid lies and misinformation. When the most called upon personages in all of your field is just a seller of oils made from snakes. Kinda gives What You Do a bad name. That's why I want a boxing game between me and CSJ, so I can hit him that day. Hit him in the face with the glove if I don't get knocked out from above before, because I'm not that fit. Yum, 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 yum. Yeah. Well, he is pucker tart, lemon squeeze, friendliest guy you ever will see. Yeah, he wants to be your friend, but he comes from around the bend, so it will be a while till you see him again. Pucker tart, lemon squeeze, he's a friend to you and me. He's the international delight, favorite go-to right-hand guy. He's international like him, but he is also bit like Beaver Bee. It is Beaver. Fuck that part up. Oh well, he's forget the chord there that was there between the transition. Really should write it down, so I have to constantly relearn it. This guy that you can see. I'd like to write the best song that the world has ever heard. A song so good it will make your ears turn immediately into birds. Fly away, say goodbye. Thanks to that song, I no longer need to wonder why my bird left. After all, it was the best thing I have ever heard. Song so good, song so good, it moves the world just like it should. Song so grand, with epic scope. Won't you make all new people elope? Can't you say in their ear, this will always be the song you want to hear? Can't you tell them to play this song in their ears every single day and night while they fall asleep to its sweet strains? Such that it resonates forever longer in their brains. Be the greatest song ever I entreat thee, please, but instead it's just another one of these goddamn things that I do all the time. Making up shit and making it mine, but nobody cares, so that's not a crime. It's nevertheless a lack of productivity that universalizes across the board. That was the root after all. Oh fuck, I can't believe it. My life's so deep into the available time, and I still haven't mastered everything that I like. I still haven't gotten in a fist fight with C.S. Jessup, which is on my bucket list. And I can't die before at least I do this. Ontological terror. It's very punk rock of you, Eric. I try. I do try to be punk rock. I try, how I try to be punk rock, but I fail like a bird without a flock. Every time I make an attempt, everybody says, get into the tent. It offers some mild protection against the impending onslaught of failure. I say, impending onslaught of failure again today. Why don't you stop portending doom? I heard you, Jordan Peterson. I know that it's time for me to be a man and clean my room with the broom. Everybody's got so much advice for everybody else in the world. Or perhaps they're seeking some advice from other people who are in charge. Some of us like to give the instruction. Some of us like to negate. Some of us like to listen for instruction. Some of us just like to hate. But I'll tell you what's up if you want to know the truth. Everybody else is just like you. About why and who and what and where and when and why. Who and they and thou and everything in between. It's all just so confusing. I'm special, but confused. No, you're not. You're just a dude. I'm confused, but I'm special. No, you're not. Your name is Rachel. My name's not Rachel. My name is Eric. That's not true. You are an oil derrick. I'm not a derrick of oil or any other fluids from the floor of the ocean. Oceanic oil, pure and true. Oceanic oil, floor to you. Pump through the ground, pull it up. Pipe through the water into my cup. Distill into delicious light crude. Then you will have an attitude of success. Working on a platform in the ocean, bringing up the oil from below, squirting it into the air and cheering, huzzah, look at it go. Gathering it into the tankers, floating it around the world, bringing all the delightful petroleum benefits to every boy and girl. Santa Petroleum brought me coal. Santa Nuclear brought me a used up pole of uranium, which killed my mom and dad. They died of thyroid cancer. I make myself laugh sometimes. Yeah. It's an underused way to end a song, right? I like to end my songs with, she died of thyroid cancer. Boy, have you heard about the demon sphere and those fucking scientists in the 50s that the guys who were doing the Manhattan Transfer, the Manhattan Project experiments, they had this ball. They had this ball that was like super radioactive, right? And they were trying to test some new stuff. Instead of making explosions blow the thing in on itself to make the nuclear bomb go off, let's totally block off with these reflective materials of some sort the neutrinos that are leaving and see if it can set itself off without any explosions. Okay. And so they were keeping an eye on how critical is this? How close to critical is it? So first, this one dude, he's putting bricks around the square that are made out of some kind of special metal or whatever. I don't know. And he's checking the thing, and he's about to put down this other brick, and he's looking at it. Oh, that's about to go critical. Better not put that one down, or I'm going to be in trouble. And then he dropped it, and it landed on the thing. And he immediately swished it away from the thing, swished it off the thing. But in the brief second that it was on there, there's a very bright blue light, and he got lethally radiation poisoned and was dead within a month. Then there was this other dude who then they started using this basically, well, instead of putting bricks around it, let's do it like Death Star style. Let's have two halves of a sphere come down to close over the sphere. And we'll just, we will keep it, how close can we get it from closing without actually closing? If it actually closes, it'll go to critical, but if we keep it not quite closed, then it won't go critical. Well, they have these like spacers and stuff for safety purposes, but there's this one physicist who just insisted always on using a screwdriver. He just stick a screwdriver in there, and that was the spacer he used. And of course, one time the screwdriver, he was holding it like up here, right? He'd lower it down, and he have a screwdriver here, and that would be his spacer to make sure he didn't put it down all the way down into the thing. Well, what happens? Of course, it slips. He drops it onto the thing for a split second, and then rips the thing off and goes, well, that's it then. Again, very super bright blue light. He was only there for a split second, but he was dead within a month. And what's interesting is other people in the room were further away. Some of them lived 60 more years or something. Why is TE usually considered smarter than TE? Well, STI can usually consider smarter than TE when it's far more linear and simplistic, right? Well, I don't think it is usually considered smarter than TE. It depends who you ask, but I think what is considered smart stuff are deductive reasoning problems and logic problems, but that's sort of when we take the function and draw it out of its native role as an expression of self. That's only TINE sky gear, really. It doesn't work quite so well with SE, which tend to reject the significance of that. It's like how Legends Fall is saying, well, CSJ still says some good stuff, some correct stuff. In my mind, I'm thinking, how could it be correct if it doesn't come with an explanation of how it fits into a larger model, right? I mean, correct that they're not going to be able to pretend their way through a TI test. They tend to simply try to avoid it. If they're one of those persons who's trying to pretend to be a different type, they will just try to avoid answering those questions. What happened between those two? What happened between Pukoki and he's on the piss? What does that mean? I mean, TE could learn to solve logic problems, but what you would see is pencil and paper coming out, and it's obviously a very different process than when a TI user uses it. Yes, we should expect ESFPs and ENFPs to fail logic class. Absolutely. Even though TE could come up with a sort of a brute force algorithm approach towards execute this series of ordinal steps. Regardless, yes, you can expect them to fail it. I've tried to teach ESFPs these things before. I've had ESFP debaters, and that was a specific one that was too long to not do without a pencil and paper. There are different kinds of TI questions. There's about 5 or 6 different kinds of them that I ask. I normally don't ask questions that long, but you wanted. I mean, you're being TI tool. You're everything you're doing, Mac Daddy, is TI tool. All the questions you're asking, the jumping at every possible inconsistency, all that stuff. Of course, the reason I told you to pencil and paper for that one is because I know that requires too much SI and not just TI, and so everybody's going to need a pencil and paper for it. Is what too detailed, though? Looking too closely at a tiny example. I don't understand what you mean. Am I looking too closely at your example? Or are you looking too closely at it? I mean, it's indicative of the fact that you're using your tool function. Your tool function is simply saying all the time, ask questions designed to uncover inconsistencies and so forth. This guy, you shut the fudge up. Well, I mean, you're just demonstrating your tool function. You are attempting to pick it apart, and I'm assuming that as you're realizing that it's not really picking apart, you're becoming increasingly convinced that whatever possible, the natural tendency you have towards skepticism and whatever reservations would normally go along with that, you're trying to think that that in fact I've successfully answered your questions. I'm a TI type too, so I don't mind being subjected to questioning on the witness stand. Well, it is true, Mac Daddy, that person with a given dominant function tends to find the tool users of that function to overuse it. So, I mean, ENTP is a perfect example. ENTP has any second slot, and it also means they've got SE polar. So, from my perspective, they're using the part of extroverted intuition they don't get as well as I do is when not to use it. Lauren Cuthbert, you're hungry and grumpy maybe, but you've got good cause to be yelling at Leaf Charmer. I'm going to put him on timeout because he's being shitty. It's not your fault. He's being shitty. He's doing his shit again. Going in here and just being toxic. But I still want to know what you meant by tell me about piss, you said. Oh, I see. Winston's mom answered my question for me. Urban Dictionary on the piss. When something is not straight, level, or aligned properly, usually as a result of laziness, poor workmanship, or being under the influence. So that means he's like a drunk or something? Is that what you're saying? Interesting gossip. You're really being reductive and overly simplistic about the idea of falsifiability. It's just, the thing is, a given, remember we're dealing with claims, right? Claims are falsifiable, and people want to talk about like your system, Eric, is your system falsifiable? Well, I mean, shit doesn't really work like that. You can't falsify everything all at once. Claims and specific things. A given approach towards cognitive functions will predict a given outcome, and some of those predictions are going to say, well, it's a prediction like the majority of people who meow on meow will also meow on meow. Some of them are predictions like you will never have somebody who both meows and meows, and those things are ways and attempts to falsify maybe the whole mechanics, but they may not actually. But because they're not binary, it doesn't really matter, right? So then other kinds of falsification things are like if you want to talk about how to falsify the way that I'm thinking about cognitive functions, it's a tricky question to answer because, one, it sets things up as though falsification is a status that gets checked or not. Is this thing falsifiable, checked or not? That's sort of true, but like in this instance, some of the claims that I'm making are much more difficult to falsify or even consider through that frame of reference because they're so rooted in being observationally so. I've never had anybody suggest another field besides the 4 fields I've suggested where people pay attention. I've never had anybody negate the notion that people pay attention on 4 fields. And yet, there are those who would say, well, how would you falsify that? Well, I say, well, you'd come up with a 5th field that makes as much So I'm getting distracted here by Mac Daddy's thing. First of all, Mac Daddy, that was intended tongue in cheek, obviously. Having Delilah being attractive, my attractive daughter being thumbnails is in no way, shape, or form actually exploiting her. Right? There's nothing exploitative about it. The other thing is, most importantly, it's not every question is TI relevant, right? So there's not TI in there at all, right? It's not a question that's I'm making a joke of sorts about about my own FI polar. So FI typically would say, you wouldn't want to make jokes about something so precious as your daughter like that. Like for example, one time, here's another example, FI polar playing it like this. She was on the phone with her in the well, I mean, first of all, Mac Daddy, if you're not calculating something, then you're not doing a calculus of any sort, right? I think it's the wrong idea. His description of Pukoki was intentionally provocative, intentionally disrespectful to women, and disrespectful to Pukoki for no good reason, and designed to create this drama that he's thriving off of right now. So it has nothing to do with what he said to Lauren. He was being a douche, talking about simps. Pukoki's just there hoping some simps, blah, blah, blah. It's just this normal bullshit woman-hating club shit. It has nothing to do with Lauren. It's like the anti-woman chip on Leaf Trimmer's shoulder keeps fucking keep banging my knee into it. So he needs to just fucking knock it off. Also, that kind of accountability disorder. Fuck off. You know, it's like I told you exactly what happened. You're doing that same sort of provocative shit where you're talking about Pukoki as dismissing her as simply somebody who's looking for simps. Anybody who's interested in Pukoki is a simp who is like, just knock it off. The point is, if I were genuinely exploiting my daughter, then for personal gain, then that would be a failure to consider what's fair to other people, you know? Just a shit ton of negativity as well, you know? It's like, Lee Trimmer, just, you know, people don't want to be around a bunch of constant shitting on stuff. And then what did I do? You're just being disingenuous in your way of your behaving with people. That's just all there is to it. I did use the word exploiting. But the thing is, I'm joking. I was obviously joking. I'm not really exploiting her. The thing is, yes, it is true that I like it when she comes over and is dressed kind of skimpily and is in a thumbnail because, yeah, it gets me more views. That's true. But that's not exploitation, you know? It's like what's happening here is I mean, people are sensitive about that shit. But let me finish the story with the Walgreens. So she called me from Walgreens one time, and she was going to get her birth control pills, and I think she said something like, that she had to wait. That you know, that they had to order them or something like that. I don't know. And I said to her, "Oh well, until you get them, just tell your boyfriend to pull out and come on your face." Figuring she'd think that was funny, and she did. She thought it was hilarious. She laughed, and she. Thing is, I didn't mean literally like she should do that or whatever. I think it's funny to play with the idea of expected behavior between a father and a daughter in that fashion, you know? The thing about disinterested or interested calculus is it comes into play when there are things in dispute. You're displaying a disinterested calculus in critiquing me because, number one, you're asking questions. You're challenging me with questions. You're not just making random unsubstantiated claims. Remember that TI is a get function, like FI. It wants to be the object in the sentence. So it's like Eric said, meow, 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 meow. Those words hit me, and I'm an object, and now I have questions. I want more words to hit me so that I can make a decision, you know? Okay, well, I'll buy that with Trimmer. That's a believable mistake. It's a believable story that you might have made that mistake, and because I personally like Bukoki. I've talked to her before. She's a nice girl, and you know, I just didn't really like the way you were talking about her. But if you genuinely got her confused with somebody else, and the person you're talking about I have no opinion about, then fine, that's cool. I understand. People make mistakes. Well, she's a little bit more obviously instrumental in it than I am. Like, if she doesn't want to TI something, well, I mean, I really only have one good example of this. Well, I can think of a couple. Like, she knows that I'm gonna win. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying about agent, subject, object. The grammar thing is something I'm pointing out that our language has misled us about how to taxonomy consciousness because it doesn't include agency thing. I get sidetracked all the time by things. Yeah, we got it. Misunderstanding. I gotta smoke a cigarette. My train of thought is all over the place. May have something to do with the kratom I took. So it's making me kind of sleepy. So I'm not saying that cognitive functions come from grammar. I was just using, I mean, obviously, like, I don't know. I'm done talking. I'm going to do a nitrous. Maybe I'll play another song on the guitar, which I was really enjoying, actually. And then it's going to be bedtime for Bonzo. I got typing in the morning, so. Well, look. We can't talk about anything without sitting here squarely in our comfort fields, namely the external metaphysical field and so forth. I'm not fit to talk about it right now, Sky Gear. I'm tired and a little crated out and just, you know. Yeah, there's a strong connection between grammar and TI, but that's only true if you're talking about it in the sense of um, learning grammar in certain ways. I mean, yeah, we heard your silly transparent provocation already. I don't need to repeat it. We ignored it once for good reason, you know. Well, Sky Gear, really depends what the purpose of the conversation is. If you want absolute resolution of the issue, which is what you want, you're right. That sort of completely satisfying combination of ultimate complexity and ultimate simplicity isn't going to happen. But that's fine. Boy, I tell you, it is, huh? Sticky jello minefield indeed. It's a lot of passive aggressive shit, a lot of active aggressive shit. There's, random provocateur coming in and saying something, hoping to kick the anthill successfully. There's a new channel in town. What they do is giggle and say how wrong the channel creator is. I have a video, Elijah has a video, and they tell each other how smart they are. It is not clever. Interesting. Well, all press is good press, I guess. That's FE, Mac Daddy. That's FE. Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, Leaf Trimmer, Winston's mom's aware of the fact that you can use anything to bug with if you try. So you just keep on apologizing over and over and over again, and then insisting again that you be the center of conversation. And then you come back, you complain about it again. Once again, I've got something to have a chip on my shoulder about. Once again, I'm to feel persecuted. It's like, enough, dude. Stop being such a constant problem. It's like, it really reminded me of Kimberly in that regard. Like, okay, you're constantly having a problem, being a problem, talking about a problem. You're just like married to problem. So I'll tell you the harsh truth of being a responsible fish owner. Sometimes you've got to say, sorry, you two aggressive fish that I wish we hadn't gotten. I'm going to have to remove you from the tank and kill you because I don't want to take you to the lake where you probably wouldn't live that long anyway. So orange and purple are both gone. They were called peacock cichlids, and the problem was the Jack Dempsey cichlids and the keyhole cichlids are calm and chill and not very attacky at all. But the peacock ones that we got kept chasing after the other fish and just being bullies. We had two keyholes. I don't know where one of the keyholes is. They're rather, the keyholes are maybe some of the larger fish in the tank. So I don't know what happened to one of the other keyholes, but so anyway, the we got three different species we had three different species of cichlids, I guess, or subspecies. We had the keyhole, the Jack Dempsey, and the what do you call it? The peacocks. The peacocks were the ones that were problematic. They were both, first orange one was super aggressive. We got rid of the orange one, then purple one started being really aggressive. So oh, cool. Thanks, Winston's mom. You're the best around. Nothing ever gonna meow, meow, meow. ESTP confirmed. What in the world? I mean, in the amount of data since you've arrived, if you've confirmed that I'm ESTP, you either don't know what the word confirmation means, or, I mean, or, it's just like, wow. I guess you just don't really want to say things that link to reality at all, You might say I'm not good at climbing trees. Might accuse me of being scared of bees. Might accuse me of falling to my knees every time I catch disease. But please don't, 'cause it won't withstand no scrutiny. Please don't call me an ESTP. Let's see, is that where it started in? No, I'm not an ESTP. If I were an ESTP, I wouldn't sit around talking on the internet all the time about random shit and making up songs like this and stuff. I wouldn't have this kind of response because somebody came and said some stupid stuff like you just did. I'd just ignore it. It wouldn't result in any response at all. You'd probably be immediately hit, 'cause ESTPs don't take no shit. Certainly they wouldn't enable and encourage you like I'm doing air. In fact, likely they would scold me for not getting it at all. Why are you letting him seize the frame? Don't you see this is what he wants? A song about him. Make him the center of attention. Make conversation revolve around his anti-kicking ways. He wanted to prompt some response. Anything's okay. Hopefully he thought emotion. Perhaps I'll make him mad. Instead he got a song and begrudgingly says, God damn, that's rad. See what I'm saying? Am I an ESTP? No. I let my F5 drive the bus too often, I suppose, and so I was hidden inside one of those dark and cold boxes where you go when you've been oxed from a channel on YouTube. I said, hey, is this permanent? But before I knew they had undone it, and it looked like I might get another chance. But in the end, I suspect resentment will appear. I won't tolerate being put in boxes no more. I didn't do anything wrong and I've got a big grudge. God damn it, let's talk more about how we should not be this, not be that. Now, chicks are bad, men are sad. Everything feels and tastes like shit, but don't forget God is always judging you about it. I'm Leaf Trimmer. What do you think about that, Leaf Trimmer? I sang a very scoldy song to you. Hopefully you learned an important lesson today. Don't scold me in song form. Too bad, bro. Too bad. You just got scolded in song form. That's the worst kind of scolding. The very worst kind. Don't scold me for being beautiful. Scold me instead for having cuticles. You want me to scold you for having cuticles? Nothing turns me on more than getting scolded for having cuticles. That is an odd fetish. Some folk call me a random man. Do a lot of drumming and a kicking can. Won't do a lot so good, call me name. My daddy wasn't Willie Woodrow. I wasn't born and raised in no ghetto. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. I I don't want no handout, and I don't want any part of anything I'm giving. Proud of mine and got a song to sing. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you want me to hate, you gotta home and get it. Just a wild boy looking for a place to do my thing. I'm gonna find me a wealthy woman in a line of work that don't take no diploma, 'cause I ain't got much to lose but lost to gain. I call a time fella, but I ain't no black and I ain't no yelling, so I'm looking for a place to do my thing. I don't want no handout living, don't want any part of anything they giving. I'm proud and wide and I got a song to sing. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you want to get ahead, you gotta home and get it. Just about won't play to do my thing. Small town boy, been around a little, and I like guitar and I like the fiddle, 'cause that's the kind of soul to expand my flame. Blue-eyed Betty, feared and ready. I got to work just to be somebody, just a wild boy looking to do my thing. I don't want no handout living, don't want any part of anything they giving. I'm proud of mine, not proud of song we sing. Well, I said a few things then. God damn it, Eric. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you want me to hit, you gotta home and get it. Just a wild boy looking for a place to do my thing. Yeah, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you want to get ahead, you gotta hope and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a plot to get to Marjorie's tater tots. He's got a good idea for a name-changing business. Thinking now about what he'll call Christmas when they hire his firm to change that name. Gerald always thought there'd be chance enough to return to the work left rough. He'd get back to it eventually. But his visions piled up and his plans would interrupt all the work that started off so hopefully. Now his mind is back on his business, thinking change in fact less to listless. Oh, how all the people will shout his name. And Gerald knows he understands ever more clear now. He won't provide explanation regarding the why or the how. He'll see you and know you from inside your heart. Exciting, delighting, Gerald plays his part. But Gerald still knew there's too much to do. He had dropped time in the underview. Too much to rebut. So where now and what? Too much time spent picking the stew with you. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a plot to get to Marjorie's tasty spots. He's got a good idea for a name-changing business. Thinking now about what he'll call Christmas when they hire his firm to change that name. Gerald has a thought. I wonder if I could fall asleep and complete playing a song at the same time. That would be an interesting challenge. That's the Buck Wilsey's 30-day challenge. Buck Wilsey, you and your 30-day challenges. All right, I gotta go to bed. Good night, everybody. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.